Hey everyone, and welcome to the Mark Prater podcast, where our aim is to connect our global family of churches with our executive director. Mark, as you well know, we are a denomination with shared theological convictions, our 7 values. One of them that is roundly criticized from both without and within evangelicalism, it seems, is our conviction of for complementarian leadership in the church and home. What are some thoughts about where things are when it comes to this complementarian issue?
It's a timely question. First of all, because as we continue to advance the gospel together as a family of churches, complementarianism is so important in how we build churches and how we practice and do our gospel life together. We just believe it's God's glorious design
That's right.
that He created men and women equal in dignity and value before Him, and yet at the same time assigning differing roles that play out in the church and in the home in particular. And that's an important doctrine for us that we want to continue to strengthen,
Yeah.
and where needed, vigorously protect. It's for some reason right now, complementarianism is a little bit under assault, if you can say it that way.
More than a
I think
little.
it was last week. Yeah, just a little. I think it was last week or the week before. There was at least some social media banter about it being a man-made doctrine,
Right.
sort of a critique of complementarianism. And if our listeners haven't read this yet, please read Denny Burke's article that's posted on the Council for Biblical Manhood and Womanhood website.
Yeah.
That's entitled "Is Complementarianism a Man-Made Doctrine?" I read that last week, I believe. And what I appreciated about it is obviously it's biblically solid in content. So he answers that question. Yes, this is a biblical doctrine, but I really appreciated his tone as well, and the way that
Right.
he wrote the article. So if you haven't read that, please read that. Also, we were talking before the podcast. Kevin DeYoung has a new book out yet, which I haven't had a chance to read yet.
Yeah.
Men and Women in the Church. But I did listen to a podcast that he did with Justin Taylor and Colin Hansen just 2 days ago, where they really discussed that book and complementarianism in particular. That's a good podcast to listen to. I think it's Life, Books, and Doctrine or something like that. Isn't that right?
Life books and everything. I think it's
Yeah, and
yeah.
everything. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah. And you were telling me you were listening to the radio this morning, and NPR was talking about this.
It's ubiquitous. Yeah. I mean, to just happen to have NPR on the radio as I was running an errand this morning, and I thought, what am I listening to? It was another author with another book attacking complementarianism, even framing it in terms of a recent creation alongside of the recent invention of inerrancy of Scripture. And so it just
Wow.
seems more and more there is hostility towards this doctrine we hold dear and precious because God has designed men and women in this way. You and the leadership team have been thinking about this because you want to
Yeah.
help ensure that we stand fast upon our convictions, happily so. And so, to that end, you're making a contribution to help us out. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. And for us, it falls into the bigger picture. Something I mentioned in my State of the Union last November when we had to do it via live stream is one of the ways that we want to continue to grow as a family of churches is to build biblically faithful churches that endure in gospel mission.
Yeah.
And to be biblically faithful, we've got to be faithful to our complementarian conviction. And so we're just trying to find how can we strengthen our pastors? How can we equip them as they lead their churches to celebrate and practice complementarian values? So we made the decision to purchase a gift subscription for every Sovereign Grace church of the journal that CBM publishes semi-annually. It's called Icon, a journal for biblical anthropology. And I've been receiving this. It's so well done. It will not only strengthen complementarian convictions, but as you well know, when you talk about biblical anthropology, you can also they talk about issues of sexuality, of gender, of marriage. Even though I don't think they speak to race at all, but race certainly, that issue does all spring from having a a good grasp and an accurate grasp of biblical anthropology.
Right.
So that journal will be sent to you digitally, by the way. You'll be receiving an email if you haven't already by the time you listen to this podcast. If you're already getting this journal as a pastor, please think about, is there a bivocational pastor on your team that could benefit from it? If not, think about a leader in the church that could benefit from it. But that's a gift from us because we want to find ways to serve you. And in doing so, we hope this, just strengthens the complementarianism, the value that we share, and want to continue to contend for it and build our churches with that value.
That's wonderful. Very kind of you guys to do that. And thank you to the leadership team for caring for us and thinking through these kinds of things and looking for ways to serve us. And thanks, Mark, for your thoughts. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll be back here next week, Lord willing, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you have questions or comments, Mark would love to hear from you. For more videos like this, hit subscribe on YouTube or by email at markkprater.com.